For all your TCG needs, make sure to check out SabaTCG.com. What's poppin', everybody? This is Saber594. This video is going to be part 2 of my Emerald Frontier Pokemon tier list. Last time we ranked, or at least I ranked, all of the different Gen 3 Pokemon from Hoenn, how effective they would be if you were to use them in the Battle Frontier, the best ones and the worst ones. And today I'm going to do the same thing for the Johto Pokemon in Gen 2. So I also got the Smogon tab here open just in case we need to check anything. I had this open last time too, but I didn't really use it. I should have though, because I did make a mistake with Manectric. I thought it learned Flamethrower and Overheat in Gen 3, but it doesn't. I mean, I thought maybe it doesn't learn Overheat in Gen 3, but I was confident it learned Flamethrower in Gen 3, but it was a mistake. So I'm going to be a bit more careful today, especially because for the Gen 2 Pokemon, I'd say I'm less familiar with them, or not as much familiar as I am with the Gen 3 Pokemon. But the rules are going to be just like last time in terms of why you should listen to me. I have acquired all of the Gen 3 gold symbols in Pokemon Emerald, and I've done so on cartridge. No emulating, no running the game on the computer, but it's not emulating and it's not cheating apparently. And adjusting frames and doing all the types of tricks most other YouTubers really do. I've never done any of that stuff. I've also never really checked Bulbapedia in terms of having all of the trainers' movesets and Pokemon available. The only really, I guess you could say, knowledge of Pokemon and trainers would be the Frontier brains. I would know what they were going to do at the end, but not the regular trainers. That's about it. Okay? In terms of the tier list, we have, just like last time, D through S. D is Pokemon that will probably not be very good, even in 6 versus 6, but if you were going to do like 6 versus 6, with a little bit of strategy, they could do something. But in the Battle Frontier, it's a terrible idea to use them. C, it's almost like D. They're not as useless as the D Pokemon, but not a good idea to try them in the Battle Frontier. With some exceptions, as always. Maybe I can give some specifics on some Pokemon you can use in a specific facility. B are Pokemon that they're decent. You're starting to get into the solid territory that if you have 2 of the best Pokemon with you, and then the third Pokemon is a B Pokemon, you might be able to perform and get a bunch of gold symbols. And then A and S are the best of the best. Okay. So we're going to start with the grass starter, Meganium, and I'm just going to put Meganium in the B territory immediately. Now, it doesn't really mean that I recommend you use Meganium, because the best way you're going to use this guy is as a stall Pokemon, and I don't recommend stall Pokemon in the Battle Frontier. Some of them do work, but when you stall, there's always the risk of a random status, a random critical hit. When your opponent is using one-hit KO moves, if you're not killing them quickly enough, you're only just risking it more for them to not miss, and then your Pokemon dies immediately. So that's why I'm against stall Pokemon. But as far as Meganium is concerned, it's going to be one of the better ones. Mono Grass is going to give you a bunch of weaknesses, which is bad, but it's also going to give you a bunch of resistances too, and certain Pokemon, you can check them very nicely. The other reason why Meganium is good is because its defensive stats are good, and it also learns Leech Seed, which means the best way if you're going to use Meganium, you don't put as much investment on HP, and then you put most of the investment in the defenses. And then when you do Leech Seed, you recover more HP if your opponent's Pokemon got a lot more HP than you. And it becomes a very good tank. Between Leech Seed, a grass move like Giga Drain for more recovery and stab, and then Earthquake is going to hit most of the stuff Giga Drain can't hit. Some Pokemon are going to wall you, like grass Pokemon are going to completely wall you, but that's another one of the weaknesses. And then you got something like Protect, or something like Light Screen or Reflect. Do something like that if you want, so you can make your stalling even longer. If you're going to do Giga Drain, Earthquake, Protect, and Leech Seed, you're not going to have space for other moves, but you can experiment. Leech Seed, I'm sure, is also an egg move, so you're gonna have to breed with egg moves. This, like I've said, it's a B Pokemon. It's solid. I really like Meganium, but definitely not a top choice. But I wouldn't put it in C or D because it's not useless. It's defensive, and the Leech Seed is one of the best Leech Seeders, no doubt. Okay. Next up, we move on to Typhlosion, and I'm also going to put Typhlosion in B. Typhlosion and Charizard are basically the same Pokemon. They got the exact same stats. The only difference is this guy is Mono Fire, Charizard is Fire Flying. You get some benefits and drawbacks for each of them when you got this combination. Charizard's going to have double weakness to Rock and a bunch of other weaknesses like Electric. But he's going to be immune to Earthquake. Typhlosion isn't going to be immune to Earthquake. And I guess some other resistances that flying would give you, I guess. Like double resistances to grass and bug. Perhaps they don't matter. Resistance to fighting, though, that could be handy. So, a couple of differences, but they're almost the same Pokemon. They also learn, they're going to do the same stuff in terms of moves. With Typhlosion, you got to have your Fire Stab, of course. You should put in Thunder Punch as well. I'm pretty sure it learns it. I guess we can check. Let's see. It doesn't look like he's in the BL tier even. So let's go down, 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 down. Typhlosion. So yeah, it learns Thunder Punch, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Thunder Punch. Don't bother with Sunny Day shit, that's stupid. Overheat, of course. That's going to be nice as well when you want to do that explosive attack. And then Blast Burn, I guess. A bad idea, but is not as bad as, let's say, if you know you're going to die, you might as well do this. Like in 6 versus 6 where they're going to set up on you. But yeah, it's not going to have that much coverage, but I put it in B tier because it can't be a fast cleaner, okay? It's not going to be as fast as Starmie and other Pokemon, but at 100 base speed, it's in that range where you're going to outspeed most stuff. And the way they train Pokemon in the Battle Frontier, if you guys, you should know this, the way they put EVs, they either do like 255 and 2 stats, I believe, or they do 126 and 4 stats. It's that sort of a split. So when they divide the stats like that, and they're not going to be at max speed, even sometimes when you think a Pokemon is going to be faster than you, you are going to be faster than it if you're a max EV on speed and then with a positive nature. So at 100 speed, it's solid as a cleaner, as a fast attacking Pokemon, revenge Pokemon. So I put it in B. Nothing really amazing, but you could try it, I guess. You got your Fire Stab moves, Thunder Punch, and then maybe if you're lucky and have a good hitting power, maybe put in Brick Break to hit Blissey or something. It's something you can do. Okay. Feraligatr. Okay, so this guy I really don't know what to say. I guess this guy could also be put in the B tier. C is a bit too weak because he's these damn ads. Feraligatr is a mono water type Pokemon, and there's plenty of those. The competition is pretty big. And where are you? I guess he's not even in the BL tier here. Man, what the hell is going on? I'm not trying to... A bit more unorganized today. Let's find you. Okay, so yeah, as you guys can see, the stats are good. It's a starter Pokemon at the end of the day. Because the special attack is low though, you know, you don't get the classic benefits of, you know, the Water Stab and the Ice Beam, so that sucks. If you neglect the speed, do something like Quiet or something, or Brave, then it's also not the best idea. I don't really recommend this guy, but I guess if you do the Dragon Dance, or if you forsake your Stab and Ice, and then you do Earthquake and a bunch of other moves, Yeah, it learns a bunch of moves. It has decent stats, but I don't really think it's a good idea. I think I'm actually going to put him in C. It's just, it doesn't really work out with the way we don't have the special and physical split in Gen 3. So, you know, if you try and take advantage of the attack, and, you know, he's still going to be a tanky Pokemon with its stats, like Swampert, you could say, kind of, then, again, you can't make the best use of water and ice. You miss out on your stab. Mono water, I mean, it's not bad, but you would get more benefits with Swampert, really, still. Yeah, it's tough. Could do Sword Stance, is not a good idea, though. So you're going to have your Earthquake, your Rock Slide. Anyway, I think I'm thinking about this too much. Gotta move on. So I'll keep him in C, okay? Now we're gonna ignore Furret, ignore Noctowl, ignore all these damn bugs, and then we got Crobat. Crobat is another Pokemon that I'm gonna put in B. So the good thing about Crobat is that it's very fast, so it could be used as a good revenge Pokemon / cleaner like Starmie in your third slot. The problem is not only the attack is pretty average at 90, but it doesn't exactly have the moves. You know, you're going to have Sludge Bomb, which is going to be your poison stab. It's nice. It's a nice neutral stab for sure, and the high chance for poison can help, but it doesn't give you coverage, okay? Flying moves, they're not very good in Gen 3. You would have to do something like Aerial Ace or Fly, which I guess Fly is not going to be as bad, but it's still not a very strong stab move. Shadow Ball is good to hit those Psychics and other specific Pokemon, you know, Latias and Latias especially. Do something to them before you get killed. But then what? You're going to be completely walled by Rock and Steel Pokemon, so if you don't have Hidden Power Ground, it's going to be bad. But the stats are pretty high, and because it has such high speed, its defensive stats are good already at 80, 80, and 85 HP. So it'll take a hit. But because the speed is so high too, what you can do is not max out the speed. Make it fast enough to outspeed most stuff anyway. And then you put additional EVs in your defenses or HP. And then it becomes an even more solid, you know, reliable Pokemon to take shots. The only Pokemon that tie with Crobat in speed is Jolteon and Aerodactyl, and to be fair, if you face against those guys, even if you're faster, you're not really going to do much to them. They can hit you with their stab and kill you, and you can't really do much to them. I guess if you do Sludge Bomb on Jolteon, it'll hurt bad, but likely not going to die. So yeah, Crobat is a solid cleaner, but there's better ones, for sure. But it's a solid B Pokemon, no doubt. Alright, then we got Lanturn. So this is, again, I'm a bit unsure where to put Lanturn, because the stats are not very good besides the HP, and I guess because the HP is so good, the decent little special defense is good enough. But the Water-Electric combination is unique to this guy, and it's extremely useful. You're only going to be weak to ground-type moves and grass moves. Now, granted, if you are hit with Earthquake, you're likely going to die, which is pretty bad. Grass moves, you're probably going to be able to absorb at least one, even with Stab, maybe. And, you know, that's pretty good. Good coverage, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Surf. There's nothing that this guy can't hit for good damage, even though it doesn't have the best special attack. You're hitting stuff that's not going to be resisted with Stab or even for weakness, so that's good. And then you can do like Thunder Wave perhaps for the fourth move. Not the best Pokemon, but once again, it's the type of Pokemon that, to be honest, if you face against it and you're not prepared, it's gonna screw you over. But when you use it and you have to get streak after streak with a Pokemon like this, it's not the greatest of ideas. So, I mean, I guess I want to double check. Let's find Lanturn. Make sure I know of its stats. So yeah, very high HP. The special defense, I guess with the HP, is kind of usable. You don't get any stat waste with the attack. It's weak enough. Yeah, in 6 versus 6, this Pokemon wouldn't be too bad because that water, you know, electric, it's just great typing for sure. A bunch of resistances. Very good dual stab. Volt Absorb being completely immune to electric attacks too. That's excellent. So it's going to have basically 6 resistances when you think about it. Maybe in the Battle Dome, which is the weakest facility, but I think ultimately I would still put it at C. I'm not gonna lie. It's just not something you really want to gamble with. Okay. Ignore a bunch of stuff. Then we got this Xatu. Yeah, not a good idea. Decent speed, decent special attack, not really coverage moves, and then you're dead in one shot. Ampharos. This is another Pokemon that you got your electric stab, that's good. You got solid enough defenses with the HP so that you won't die, but then you're slow. You can do, I think Ampharos can do like the elemental punches. I think at least, maybe I'm wrong. So let's go all the way on top. Click on you. Yeah, you get some wasted points in attack for no reason. I mean, I guess you can have Brick Break, but yeah, not a good idea. Yeah, you do learn Fire Punch. I don't see Ice Punch though. But, you know, Fire Electric, it's a decent combination still. Thunder Wave, I don't really recommend. Yeah, I think I would put him at C too. It's not worth it. You might as well use Typhlosion, which is going to be faster. Okay? Okay. Then we got Bellossom. So, Bellossom and the other Pokemon that can do Sunny Day and Chlorophyll, they would have been maybe decent because you don't get the bonus with your stab like with Rain Dance, but you can use Solar Beam, I guess. You needed, like, they would need to learn, like, let's say a fire move so you can boost that, and just have better coverage moves in general. So for example, this Bellossom, if you're going to do Sunny Day and then Solar Beam, what else are you going to be your coverage moves? It doesn't learn anything. I don't even need to check. I know that you don't get anything. Sludge Bomb is physical and isn't very good. You're going to have a good hidden power, and that's going to be very difficult to do in Gen 3, unless you're going to cheat. And again, even with the hidden power, even if you have a good hidden power, the coverage just isn't there. It's not fully useless. It's got decent special attack and special defense, but I don't recommend you use a Pokemon like this. Azumarill, same idea. It's like a shittier Swampert, slightly worse defensive stats with the same HP, but you don't really got the offenses. You don't got the stab moves. You know, the Earthquake Stab. Its special attack is very weak, so even if you do Surf and Ice Beam, you're not really gonna go far. It's just bulky, and that's about it. So, man, do I even put this in C? I think it deserves to go in D, but with huge power, yeah, it's not a good idea. Let's put you in D. I mean, I guess if you use him as a shitty wall, thick fat, nah, let's just forget it. This guy too, yeah, you don't want to use this guy. Mono Rock, weak to Surf and Earthquake. Okay. Then we got Polydot. So this dude, I guess. B or C, I'm thinking, but I guess B. It's just, you might as well use this guy as opposed to Feraligatr. It's not good, but I guess you got your typical Surf Ice Beam combination. What else are you gonna put on? I guess you can do maybe Toxic. You can do. It's just gonna be a shittier Milotic, but it's mono water. The stats aren't too bad. I'll just put it in B. Yeah. What else should I say about it? It's just you can do Hypnosis, but it's very risky, inaccurate. Don't even bother. Breloom with Spore with 100% accuracy can be risky enough. So just trying to do Hypnosis with this guy is just a very dumb idea. Does he learn anything else that I forgot in terms of special coverage? You can do Psychic, but then it's like you're becoming a shittier Starmie. Anyway, let's just keep him in B. And I'm being generous. Okay. We got Jumpluff. So this is... Yeah, I gotta put it in C. It's just risky stuff. You're gonna do Leech Seed stuff, do bullshit, dual weaknesses. The special defense, I think it's high enough, but maybe yeah. Yeah, don't bother with a Pokemon like this. It's just C or D. I guess I'll be generous and keep it in C, but it's just bad idea. Bad idea, Pokemon. Sunflora, yeah, not gonna bother these guys. And then we got this dude. So Quagsire, if you were to use this Pokemon in 6 versus 6, even though the stats are not very good, it has a lot of utility with all the stuff it can do, little tricks and gimmicks, and because it has Water Absorb, it just becomes a very great counter to a lot of stuff that you can just throw out and your opponent is forced to switch and not really do much. But in the Battle Frontier, it's probably not a good idea. If you're going to use a Water Ground Pokemon, your only option and real option is Swampert. But, you know, again, it's a Water Ground. You got your Earthquake Stab. You can do Curse. Water Absorb is very handy compared to having Torrent even on Swampert. Not a good idea, though, but if you want to just give yourself a challenge, go ahead, I guess. I'll put it in C, not D, but not recommended. Okay. Then we got Espeon. So this is kind of tough because Espeon, I'll put it in B, but I'm honestly being kind of generous. So Espeon is my favorite evolution. I guess that's irrelevant on the subject matter here, but I'm just going to throw it out there as my video at the end of the day. Sometimes I feel like this is my favorite Pokemon and maybe not Salamence, but it is what it is. I guess all the evolutions, they have all of their fans. But besides that, the problem with Espeon is that it doesn't have any coverage moves in Gen 3. At least in Gen 4, you're going to have your predictable, you know, Shadow Ball, Grass Knot, and maybe Signal Beam. And that's all you really got for coverage if we're not going to include Hidden Power. But at least you got something. Even if it's just going to be predictable, if you're going to use them as a sweeper, you have options, even if your opponent is going to know about them. But in Gen 3, Shadow Ball is a physical move. There's no Grass Knot. It doesn't learn anything else. So even if you would do something like Calm Mind and Psychic, what else are you going to do afterwards? Wish, I guess that can be handy. And then what? You're going to need a Hidden Power. And anything is going to be something at this point. Even Dark, even something like... if you can get this guy with like max IVs somehow, I guess if you're going to cheat. then you're going to have Hidden Power Dark, and that's decent. Better than nothing. But it just doesn't have the moves like Alakazam. Alakazam has Psychic, it can do Fire Punch, it can do the other elemental punches, so your coverage is excellent. Okay? But, you know, again, comparing it to Alakazam is going to be more fragile. It's going to be faster and has more special attack, but it's also a lot more fragile. Espeon might be able to take a shot, although it is also kind of fragile on the physical side. But I'll put it in B. It's a cleaner once again, but you're not going to have the coverage. So, yeah, you're going to have to put stuff like Reflect or Light Screen on it, and then hope you get lucky. You're going to have to throw it out as your second Pokemon maybe, and then your third Pokemon hopefully benefits from stuff like that. You can do Wish and Protect. You can even do something like Morning Sun. But it's not like this Pokemon is that durable to take advantage of that like Milotic. Yeah, the problem really is it could have been a great cleaner like Starmie if it just learned a bunch of moves. Even just if it was the stuff from Gen 4. You would have been solid. But anyway, I'll keep it at B. I don't really recommend it. There's other better cleaners out there. Even Crobat, it's probably more reliable than Espeon and even bulkier too. But yeah, if you do hit something with Psychic, it's gonna be hurt bad for sure. Alright. Umbreon. So this one is gonna go in A. I've mentioned this plenty of times. I'm not really fond of doing stall tactics in the Frontier for the most part because you're really gambling. Maybe in the Battle Palace you could somewhat get away with it because you only got to do like 42 battles to reach Spencer. But, you know, I gotta admit that if you are gonna do stall, Umbreon is probably the strongest Pokemon. Very, very high defensive stats. And being Mono Dark, it only gives you weaknesses to Fighting and Bug, which they're gonna be sparse. Most of the Bug Pokemon in Gen 3 are shit. The dangerous ones like Heracross, yeah, they're gonna check you real bad. But besides Heracross, besides some other random stuff like Scizor or Scyther or Pinsir, you don't really gotta worry about stuff. For fighting type Pokemon, it's sort of the same thing. Yeah, Machamp, it can break you, and Hariyama, but the wide majority of Pokemon, they're gonna have to hit you for neutral, or if they do hit you with weakness, it's gonna be without stab. And with this guy's mega high HP and defensive stats, you can take those. You can obviously Wish or Moonlight to heal the damage. I'm pretty sure it even learns Moonlight, not just Wish. So if you want to do like Wish Protect for the reliable shit, you know, Toxic Stall, and then you got like a darkness move like Feint Attack, that's it, or Shadow Ball. You can do the Curse strategy too, if you're gonna go the stall shit route. And it's a very, very tough Pokemon to kill. Extremely difficult. If your opponent is using something like this, man, the bitch, the Battle Tycoon, Arena Tycoon, Greta, even in Silver, she can really mess you up with Umbreon if you really get unlucky with the confusion shit. It's just a very, very resilient Pokemon. So for your stall options, is up there as one of the best. Okay? It just won't, it almost never dies. It's so hard to kill. Again though, at your discretion against critical hits and when he KO attacks and something else random that can go wrong like Freeze. It's also slow, so you gotta be wary of sleep too. They put you to sleep and then you gotta wait a bunch of turns to wake up and then they still kill you anyway. So that's why I'm against a lot of slow Pokemon for the most part that are really slow and they're not like Swampert with a lot of power. Okay. But I'll put it in A. If I put it any lower, it wouldn't be fair. Okay. Now, where are we now? We're at Markrow. Yeah, this is whatever. And then Slowking. I think I want to put you in B, or should we do A as well? Good question indeed. I think Damn, this is tough. Do I put you in B or A? I'll do... weakness to electric grass. Okay, that's whatever. Weakness to dark and ghosts. Bug. You know what? I put Walrein in B. I think I want to keep this guy at B too. I don't know. Okay, the thing is with both Slowking and Slowbro, they're basically like the same Pokemon. I think Slowking might be better in Gen 3 because, you know, all the grass and electric type moves are going to be special. So you can eat them up better. This Pokemon is good in the sense that the Psychic Water combination, it obviously gives you various useful stabs. You got your Water Stab, your Ice extra, Psychic Stab if you want to. But these guys, this guy and Slowbro, for some reason, they also learn Flamethrower. And that can be pretty handy. It makes this guy very unique as a water Pokemon, having just a random strong fire move like that. They learn Slack Off, which gives you healing. So that can be handy too. And they got good stats. I mean, the only problem is they're very, very slow. You're always going to go last with them. And all the points they got in the attack, they're pretty much wasted. So it kind of sucks. But as far as using water Pokemon that are not Milotic or Swampert and Suicune and Vaporeon and stuff, you know, it's solid, you know. It's not bad. Good special attack, high special defense, high HP, high enough defense. So it's not like it's bad, it's just that it's way too slow. And sometimes the Psychic combination can give you trouble. So I think I'll put him in B. Maybe A is pushing it, especially if you compare that Umbreon is going to be better as a stall Pokemon. But yeah, a solid B for Slowking is not bad. It's actually, it might be the best B Pokemon here, to be honest. Even better than Espeon. So let's keep it here. This along with Crobat maybe. Alright, now where are we now? We're at Mischievous, yeah, whatever. Not used as unknown, yeah. S tier unknown, guys. Anyway. Then we got Wobbuffet. So, if you really want to be a jackass, I guess we can talk about Wobbuffet a little bit. So, using a Pokemon like this, it's going to be... I don't want to say risky, because most of the stuff he'll be able to kill anything, but... how the fuck are you going to effectively EV train this Pokemon? In Gen 3, you're going to have to cheat or something. It's going to be pretty rough. I guess maybe with experience share. It doesn't have any moves to really damage the opponent. You're just going to have to kill something with counter or magic coat. That's about it. So it's always that guaranteed kill one Pokemon. But then likely your opponent is going to kill it. And it's always going to be the Pokemon that just gives you one kill max. And that's it. So... it's more annoying when you face this guy rather than you trying to take him in the big streaks. So I put him in C. Maybe you can put him in B, but I guess, I mean, you want to do dumb shit. It could put him in B. I don't fucking know. I'll put him in B and fuck it, but I really don't recommend you try and use this dude. It's almost like you're trying to be too fair in a way. Just always getting one kill and then you die. You want to have Pokemon that, if the circumstances are right, you can get 2 kills with them. You know, like Metagross, like even something like Starmie. If the conditions are right, you can kill more than one Pokemon, not just one. But anyway, I'll put him in B. Then we're at Girafarig, no. Forretress. Forretress, I think I'll put him at a decent B, yeah. Forretress is the Bug Steel type Pokemon, so he's only going to have the double weakness to fire. And that's going to be pretty bad, but you can somewhat control it, maybe. Not a lot of random non-fire Pokemon learn fire moves. And if it's not Stab, you got the special defense trained up, then maybe you'll take one, maybe. But the cool thing about Forretress is actually you don't want to do spikes and stupid shit like that. Rapid Spin, this is 3 versus 3. You just want to have your Earthquake. I don't really remember any good Steel type move it learns in this game. Probably nothing. So you got your Earthquake, you got your Explosion, of course. And what else? I think it learns Rock Slide. It does. Let's check it out, just to check out the moves. So yeah, obviously in 6 versus 6, this is OU because you can do spikes and rapid spin, shit like that. But in the Battle Frontier, we don't care about that. Sturdy is nice because you know that the one-hit KO moves don't work on this guy too in the later streaks. So yeah, Hidden Power Bug, I guess if you can have that. Explosion and Earthquake, they're a must. Then I would have maybe you can do Lights. Maybe Protect, actually. Protect with the leftovers. That's what you gotta do. And then Rock Slide. He's gonna be decent, you know, as a kind of a tank Pokemon like Swampert. Not gonna hit as hard, but maybe can last longer and resist more stuff. So yeah, I think B is pretty fair. I wouldn't put him in A, but B is pretty fair. You got your Earthquake, your Explosion, your Rock Slide, and then your Protect. And then you got a decent little tank Pokemon that can kill some stuff eventually while you protect, and they got trouble at killing you. If you hit them for super effective, eventually you're going to take them out. And then you can explode and then take something else. And then you can, I guess, cheese your way into killing 2 Pokemon with this guy. So I think it's all right. Don't max out the defense. Make sure you got like 353 HP. So you get that max leftovers output divided by 1 out of 16. If you don't know what I mean by that, do some research on how you should EV train HP. You want it to be divided by 4 divided by 16 for leftovers, and you know, you put the rest on special defense. You should probably still have like an impish nature, but not max the defense out. Put some EVs in HP. But I mean, if you get this guy in Adamant with excellent IVs, then it's still good. I mean, you can use Earthquake, your Rock Slide. What sucks about this guy is that you're not really going to take advantage of any of your stab. No Bug, no Steel. That's the unfortunate part. But anyway, a solid B for sure. It's actually, yeah, out of the B Pokemon now, this guy I think is the best choice. Alright. Where are we now? We're at Gligar. Yeah. No. I don't know why I bother putting some Pokemon in D. There's just not really any point. You might as well just not use them. Anyway. Then we got Steelix. So Steelix is another one of those either C or B. I'll put you in B. I'm pretty sure Steelix does learn Explosion. Yeah, it does. So Steelix, it's the only Pokemon with the Steel Ground type combination. So you get that Earthquake Stab, which is nice. You get a bunch of resistances by being the Steel type Pokemon. And then you don't have the double weaknesses like other similar Pokemon have. Like Aggron, it also has very high defense, but it's got a bunch of double weaknesses to fighting and ground, which is just, it means that he's always going to be dead against them. But this guy, if they hit him with physical and fighting type moves, just with regular times to weakness, he can take them. okay? You invest more on the special defense, and then maybe he can also take a random Surf from a weak Pokemon without Stab. And you got a decent little tank Pokemon, but you're not really going to accomplish that much. Once again, you can Earthquake, you can Protect, you can Explode. Maybe you can do Toxic too. You can do some shit, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. Maybe you're going to hit harder than this guy. I mean, you definitely are, because you get the Earthquake Stab, so it's much better in that regard. This typing, though, it gives you more weaknesses compared to Forretress, but it's just a solid B. I mean, if you're going to use a Steel-type Pokemon, Metagross is your best bet, but just solid B. Again, in the Battle Dome, if you got the best of the best and then Steelix is your third Pokemon, it can work out. Maybe. Where are we now? Granbull. I'll put this guy in C. I think we're at Granbull, right? Yeah. Normal type Pokemon, Intimidate, strong normal Stab, Earthquake, perhaps a fighting move, perhaps Rock Slide. But there's just Pokemon that are going to do the same stuff this guy does, better. I know it learns a bunch of moves though, so yeah, I think maybe C, or should I put him in B, maybe? Let's check him out. Granbull. So yeah, the defenses are not very good. The speed is terrible, so you're going to have to invest in attack, and then the defenses or HP. In a way, this guy's going to be a tank. And yeah, you know, you do your Earthquake, you do your Shadow Ball. I know it learns a bunch of moves. A lot of them, they're going to be special, so you can't take advantage of them, but it learns enough in the physical moves. Like Rock Slide, Earthquake, you know, Shadow Ball. I don't know. The way I look at it, something like even Ursaring is going to be better. He does have Intimidate, though. So ooh, do I put you in like... I think C is fair enough. I just think, yeah, it's fair enough. Okay. We got Scizor. Goddamn. So I'll put this guy in B, but once again, it's just... B or C. Okay, so the problem with Scizor is that if you know about Gen 4, you know how menacing this guy is. But in Gen 3, he doesn't have any moves. And when I say any moves, I mean any moves. For Bug, you're going to have to breed him with Silver Wind. And at the end of the day, that's a 60 base Bug type move. Or you're going to have to get somehow lucky and have a strong Hidden Power Bug. So you're fucked in that stab. For Steel, there's no Bullet Punch, there's no Iron Head. You're going to have to put Steel Wing. And not only is that inaccurate, it doesn't even hit the hardest at 70 base. So that's not going to be a very great stat move either, but you're going to have it on. I mean, there's nothing else. You're going to have Aerial Ace on, which I guess it can be handy against Heracross and some Pokemon like Breloom, Pokemon that want to do double team. So yeah, okay, whatever. You get a coverage move over there too. That it's just average. And then what else? It doesn't even learn Brick Break, believe it or not. I was so surprised, but this guy does not learn Brick Break in Gen 3. I don't even gotta double check, I already know. So he's not gonna have any great moves. So all of the high attack it has, it gets wasted. Okay? There's no Bullet Punch, so you can't do like the Swords Dance, Bullet Punch priority shit. So you're really just gonna have to use it as a shitty Forretress, to be honest. Like, this guy is gonna be better even because he can actually learn Earthquake, Rock Slide, Explosion even. So I think even Forretress is better than Scizor. But I don't know, I guess it's gonna be good enough at B. C is just too low, but we keep him in B. You can do like the reversal Salicberry Endure shit if you really want to, but again, not exactly the greatest of ideas if you ask me. But anyway, I'll just keep him at B. It's the same good type in. The only problem is the fire you're gonna have to be careful of. We got Heracross now. Okay, so Heracross, this guy would go to A to be honest, but because of the double weakness to flying and all the random Pokemon that can do aerial ace or just flying moves, I'll put him in B. So Heracross is really, really good because you don't got any sort of stat wasted. It only has 40 base special attack and it has like I think 500 base stat total. So you got excellent attack, high special defense, solid enough defense, and then solid enough HP. So he'll be able to take a shot, and it has 85 speed, so he's going to be fast enough. So once again, if you just train him up with speed and attack, a lot of the times he'll be fast enough to always go first, because like I've said, your opponent, the way they train Pokemon in the Battle Frontier, they just don't always max out speed. So if they got like 126 speed EVs, even on a Pokemon that would be faster than you, like let's say a random, I don't know, Typhlosion, it would normally be faster, but then if they don't have max speed EVs on it, you might be faster, and then you can kill him with Earthquake or something. Don't take my word for it, but what I'm trying to say is at 85 speed, he's usable enough to be quick enough to attack. And then it can take shots too, which is even more important. So he's great. I've never used him, but I've heard people say he wrecked or he wrecks. And it learns very powerful stab moves as well. With Mega Horn, it's inaccurate, but if you hit something with that, it's likely going to get killed. Whether it's neutral or especially with the weakness. Obviously, if you play against, Latios or Latios, they're likely going to attack you first, and then if they got Psychic, they'll kill you. But if they don't got that, and they hit you with something else, you hit them with Mega Horn, they're dead automatically. Brick Break, Stab, Earthquake, if you want to do that. It learns, I think, Rock Slide, or it learns Rock Tomb at least, but I'm pretty sure it learns Rock Slide. I think it can also do the reversal shit. So, yeah, it's a strong Pokemon for sure with high stats. It might just be the best general bug move, honestly. Or, yeah, might even be better than Armaldo, actually. So, the solid B. It does have a bunch of weaknesses, though. So, at a bug fighting type Pokemon, it's got the usual weaknesses bug Pokemon are going to have. And then being bug fighting, it means that a random aerial ace means you're automatically dead. Okay? Flying type moves, just anything, a random drill peg. If you play against Zapdos or just something else. You know what sucks about this guy is that in the mid tiers, where you might face random Dodrios and random Swellows and shit like that, you're gonna have trouble against them. So if he's your last Pokemon and then you're fighting against something like that, he's going to die to those Pokemon, which is embarrassing. So that's why I think B is fair enough. But he's definitely like a B+, A- kind of Pokemon, honestly. Okay? Alright. Where are we now? This dude, yeah, it would have been great if you were Weavile. Am I right? And then we got Ursaring. I think I'm going to put Ursaring in C as well, even though he might be better than... Let's go down. Come on, man. Where are you? where is the U? So this guy's going to be a bit more bulkier than Granbull. It's got more attack as well. I think in general the stats are higher. I think he's fast. Yeah, he's faster too. You get points wasted in the special attack, which sucks. But I think, I mean, I think he's a little bit better than this dude. Maybe, do I put him in B? Man, choice band with this guy, you hit something hard, you kill it automatically. You don't got Intimidate though. It pretty much learns the same moves. You know, your normal type moves, your Earthquake, your Shadow Ball, your Brick Breaks, your Rock Slides. I'm gonna put him in B, but I don't, once again, I don't really recommend him. He'll be able to take one hit, I'd say. Because once again, you're gonna invest in attack and then the rest is gonna go in the defenses. So you'll take one shot and then hit something hard. But then, once again, you're gonna get two-shot killed by something. So you do protect with the leftover shit. It's kind of a waste. I'll keep him in B, but I don't know. Do we put him in B or C? I'll keep him in B, but is not really a great B Pokemon. It'd be like maybe C+, B-. We're gonna get into the really good normal Pokemon, but they're in Gen 1, so you're gonna have to wait until the next episode. Anyway, so let's go into the next one. Macargo, yes, straight D. Double weakness to ground, double weakness to surf, slow as hell. Stats aren't very good anyway. The defense, that's high. Everything that would be physical that hit this guy is super effective, so you don't care. What are we gonna just take physically? Normal type moves, that's it? Or ghost type moves? Really bad, and it's too bad. Piloswine, same idea. Very, very weak. Lots of weaknesses. If it was Mamoswine, yeah, different story, but over here it's bad. You don't even got moves really. You just got Earthquake and that's it. And like Rock Slide maybe. Octillery. Put this guy in C. It's got high enough offenses and learns shitloads of moves to take advantage of them. But then, as usual, you're just going to get one big shot in, you're going to take maybe one shot, maybe, and then they're going to kill you. It's like Granbull, but maybe even shittier with more coverage. So just see. And we got Mantine. That's pretty interesting. Mantine, I think I would put either C or B. I'm not sure. I think I'll keep him in B. So, the thing is with Mantine is another one of those Pokemon that has Swift Swim, and obviously you can do the Rain Dance, Ice Beam, Surf combination, and then for your fourth move, you can do some random shit like, I don't know, Toxic or what other moves he learns. It doesn't matter. You can figure that out. The most important move, you already know them. Rain Dance, Surf, Ice Beam, that's how you're gonna run it. And he does actually have some solid stats. Let's just take a look at him actually. Even though I kind of already know the deal. I've mentioned before how the Rain Dance Swiftums combination is extremely powerful in Gen 3. Mainly because your opponent doesn't really do shit about it. You can just do it and then take advantage of the bonuses. So, Yeah, very high special defense, of course. So any special attack this guy's gonna take. Now, of course, the Thunderbolt electric attacks, they're gonna hurt real bad. But because the special defense is so high, if they don't hit you with stab, you might be able to take one. So 65 HP, I thought it was 85. No, I think it's because, yeah, it was 65 in Gen 3 and then they buffed it in the later gens. Anyway, but you don't really got any stat wasted. The attack is the weakest stat, which you're not going to use. So, you know, he can be like even maybe better than Ludicolo. In the sense that he's going to be bulkier. You don't got those extra moves, but, you know, you got more bulk to take shots. And then Water Flying, besides the, you know, electric weakness, it also gives you a bunch of resistances, immunity to ground too. I mean, you guys can sort of see the deal. Lots of resistances here. Being weak to rock and electric, that's it. So, I think B is fair enough. It's one of the better Swift Swim Pokemon. Kingdra is the best, and then this guy with Ludicolo might be the next best. So if you want to give yourself a challenge, or if you want to somehow make use of this guy again in the Dome, then he's your Swift Swim Pokemon that's not Kingdra. Alright, Skarmory. So Skarmory, I'll also put this Pokemon into B. A is pushing it, but B I think is fair enough. So the benefit of Skarmory, even though the stats are not bad, but not very high either, they're kind of in the middle, is the Steel Flying type combination gives you hella resistances and not, like, only two weaknesses really, electric and fire. Now both of those moves are special, so if you get hurt by them, Skarmory is likely going to die. Even if you invest in special defense, you're not really going to go far. It's probably a good idea to have a bit of extra special defense, so maybe you can take in Surfs. But Skarmory, because of the type combinations and the stuff it can do, it's a type of Pokemon that can wall some Pokemon completely. And then you can drill peck them to death while you recover with Protect in between turns. You can do Toxic on them, maybe. I don't really recommend you do Sword Stance or Agility shit, but if you must, you got it. I don't really recommend you do that shit though, but it's a solid Pokemon. That's about it. It doesn't have the greatest of attacks, but again, as a sort of a Protect tank Pokemon, it's solid enough to get into the B territory. So I'd keep him here. You know what? If I think about it, no, I'm not going to change anybody. I think the rest of the guys that are in C, they deserve it. I'm thinking maybe I put Ampharos in B2, but yeah, that Earthquake weakness, it's a nail in the coffin, to be honest. Anyway. So next up we got Houndoom. Put this guy in C. Nothing higher. So the reason why this guy is not that great is because he's extremely fragile and all the points in attack are pretty much wasted here. There's no Sucker Punch if you do something dumb like Sludge Bomb or something else. I think he learns Reversal. It's kind of a stupid idea. All the moves you got are basically your fire type moves and then your crunch, your dark type stab. So even if you do double fire moves, like you do overheat, flamethrower, and then crunch, that you have that extra, you know, overheat as your explosion type of a final move you're gonna do, then he's not that great of a cleaner. He's gonna be fast enough once again, so he can do the job as a cleaner, but then you don't really got the other moves and then you die in one shot. So, shit, I mean, do we put him in B because of this? I'll be a bit more generous. I'll put you into B, but it's not really recommended. He dies in one shot. That's a problem. You know what the problem is? This guy, at least Espeon can kill something and maybe take a shot. This guy, because he has 110, even when you hit something with weakness, especially a lot of the psychic Pokemon that are going to be weak to crunch, they're going to be able to live one attack and then kill you back. So, yeah, it's just very few moves this guy's going to be able to wall. And so much stuff that are just going to kill him in one shot. So, I'll put him in B. In C, what I meant to say. I guess maybe he's a C+, but yeah, that's it. Nothing more. Alright, and now we're finally getting to the really, really good stuff. Kingdra is going to go straight S. Man, this video is so long. So Kingdra is, in my opinion, and from my personal, very huge experience, the most consistent Pokemon and the strongest overall Pokemon in the Emerald Battle Frontier in terms of all that it can accomplish on its own before it goes down. If you're not fighting against a Pokemon that resists water and ice type moves, so basically a water Pokemon really, then this guy is just gonna wreck everything else most of the time. I guess you're gonna have trouble against Blissey too, but you know, besides these very obvious exceptions, he's extremely powerful. It is the only water dragon type Pokemon, and this combination only gives you weakness to dragon. And Pokemon that are going to do random Dragon Claw are very few and far between. The dragon Pokemon that get stabbed that are going to do this, like Salamence and Dragonite, that's not even their best stat. You know, it's going to be a special attack. And you really only got to worry about that. You know, Latias and Latios and nobody else. They can't hit you for weakness. Every time they hit this guy, it's going to be neutral. So he's extremely resilient without really that much effort put into him either. You're just going to put all of your, or almost all of your EVs in HP. You want it to be at 353. If you don't got perfect IVs, then just put everything else on it and then get as much HP as possible. And then put the rest of it in special attack. You do Rain Dance and then your water stab is boosted and you're fast too because of Swift Swim. You don't have to put any points in speed. Just because of Rain Dance being double, it's like you get an agility boost. You're going to be at 400 range speed. He's going to be faster than anything after Rain Dance while you boost your attack. So it's extremely good. I don't know what else to say. The last move you want to have him in is probably Dragon Breath. So you got something to hit Lanturn and just hit some stuff, maybe get lucky with a paralysis. If you want to be lazy and not breed for that, then you can do maybe Toxic to hit some of these water Pokemon, and then hopefully they can't do anything about it. I think it learns Toxic, right? I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it must learn Toxic. But this is your best, like, most obvious S tier Pokemon from here, no doubt, if you ask me. Is extremely good. I've praised it plenty of times when I talk about the Battle Frontier. It got me most of the gold symbols. I just always have it around. He won't be good against Annabelle, but then against everything else, he's good. Yeah, of course it learns Toxic. I mean, it's borderline like a poison Pokemon in a way, too. The Sludge shit, you know, Horsey and Seadra shoot from their mouth, basically. So it is the most consistent Pokemon from my experience. It's just that combination of stats, you know, and the ability. It's just a perfect combination where you get too many edges. Of course, the attack, all the points in attack, they get wasted. You're never gonna use that. But again, your only water dragon Pokemon, Swift Swim, opponent can't really play around it. You fuck things up. Got the Lumbreon, so when you do Rain Dance, if they put status on you, they did it for nothing. And you just go from there. It's always going to kill at least one Pokemon, and usually you can kill 2 of them. So, highly recommend S tier, the best swim Pokemon. You got this guy, and then you got something like a Zapdos in your second slot to take advantage of Thunder 2 after the Rain Dance. And yeah, you get so many advantages. Top tier, for sure. Next up, we got Donphan. I'm going to put Donphan into the... Let's do B. I think that's fair enough. So, Donphan is a mono ground type Pokemon. Unfortunately, both grass and water type moves, they're special. So every time they hit you, they're going to go through your weak special defense. So if you put a bunch of EVs there, you might be good and take one of those weaker ones. So it's not a bad idea to do that. And then you put the rest in attack, and then you put, once again, you put a lot in HP, and then you put the rest in special defense if you can. And he's going to be good against the physical Pokemon. Earthquake Stab, High Attack, your Rock Slide. That's it. I think you can do Flail as well. You can do like a random normal type move like Double Edge perhaps. It's solid, but it cannot be top tier because, again, it's weak special defense and weakness to surf. These are the really, really important parts. I think he is going to be more reliable than something like Steelix though. And in ways, he's going to be like a better Forretress too, although Forretress has Explosion. So solid B. That's it. I think maybe you can do some other tricks with it that I don't remember, but yeah, don't put something like Rapid Spin on it because it's unnecessary in the Battle Frontier. Porygon 2, this is gonna go into, I think, B, or do I put you in A? That's a good question. It's a good question indeed. This thing wants to recover. So, it's kind of tough. Where do I put you exactly? I mean, you don't got the, whatever the hell, Gen 5 or Gen 6 item. I forgot what it's called, where you put it on an evolved Pokemon and then they get a big buff. I think it's pushing it to put it in A because we don't even get our stab. But, you know, between your Thunderbolt, your Ice Beam, and then Recover, a bunch of other tricks this guy can do. Trace ability. He doesn't have download in these games. It can be a good little tank Pokemon once again. Problem is once again very slow. I guess if you want something with Recover, you might as well have Milotic, maybe even Cradily. So I'll keep him in B, but yeah, he's just a solid normal Pokemon that's gonna do the unusual stuff compared to other normal Pokemon. Instead of just being a physical Pokemon, you're gonna be a special Pokemon, special attacker. Right. This guy goes here. This guy, he goes here too, really. I mean, you got Intimidate, you got your stab move, fighting, and then you ain't got really nothing fuck else. Whatever. Smeargle, yeah, this is... This guy's so risky, but... Ooh. If you really want to be the smartass that's gonna gamble doing Spore, and then you do like Sword Stance and Extreme Speed, you can do that. You can do Baton Pass or something. I'll just keep him in C because it's very risky, but you know, just like if you use something like Shedinja, you can gamble with gimmicks like that. Ninjas can do baton pass too. This guy, he can do the baton pass, whatever, but I don't recommend. Then we got Miltank. I think I'm gonna put this into B. Actually, I might even, you're going into A actually. So the great thing about Miltank, it's once again one of those normal type Pokemon that you don't really got points wasted. It has very low special attack, so all the stats, the points for its stats go into useful places. You got high defense, you got high HP, you even got high speed. It learns Milk Drink, so you got recovery. It learns Earthquake, you got your water, your normal stabs. And then you got options for other coverage moves if you want to, like Rock Slide and Shadow Ball. I think it learns a bunch of stuff. Yeah, solid Pokemon as a tank. And not really much much else I'll say about that. I mean, I'll take a quick sip of water actually. This video is way longer than it should have been. Less Pokemon and it would take longer. Yeah, what problems? I mean, Miltank has just a normal Pokemon, so it's only going to be weak to fighting. Fighting moves are all physical, so you usually take one. It's a nice normal Pokemon, to be honest. I can't really say bad things about it. It just, once again, against some Pokemon like Metagross, it's going to be overpowered. Thick Fat is also very useful on it, so you got an additional resistance to fire and ice type moves where normally you wouldn't be having them. So just a solid A Pokemon, more consistent than nearly everything else we've seen here, I'd say. Yeah, let's not waste any more time. Blissey, the same thing. I'm gonna put this in A. So the best way for you to take advantage of Blissey, if you want my opinion, is you run it with Modest, but I guess if you run it with Calm, it's fine too, maybe. But Modest is probably what you want to have. Max out the special attack, and then put everything else into the defense. So then maybe against some neutral, physical attacks, you'll take one. And then that's it. In terms of special attacks, they're never going to kill you ever, even with no investment, because this thing has so much HP and so much special defense. And then you got Thunderbolt on it, Ice Beam and Flamethrower, and then Soft Boiled. And then you got a very good tank Pokemon that's just going to hit a lot of stuff for weakness, hit a lot of stuff for neutral. If you got Serene Grace on, you got a chance for random status too with those other moves. And it's a Pokemon that, once again, some Pokemon, they're going to check it bad, but other Pokemon, you're going to check them real bad. Normal Pokemon, don't got to worry about too much. And, I mean, it's Blissey. It's going to be very, very tough against all special attackers. They can't do shit to you, really. I don't know what else to add. If you're going to run it as just a defensive Pokemon, I don't think it's a good idea. But I guess if you do that, you can do Seismic Toss, Soft Boiled. The problem with Blissey, of course, is that if it's your only Pokemon and you're going up against physical attackers, they're probably going to get you in the end. Even with Soft Boiled, you're not really going to do much, and you're going to be likely slower too. So it can be kind of risky, but there's all those times against special attackers where you're going to be the one that almost gets an auto win against them. So I think it deserves an A too, along with Miltank. Yeah. Nothing else to add. And then we got a few final Pokemon too. Raichu. I'm going to put this guy in A too, although it's more of a B+ Pokemon, to be honest. So Raichu, Very high special attack, very high speed, solid special defense as well, electric Pokemon, so he's going to be an amazing, you know, special attacker cleaner that's also resilient. You do Thunderbolt, Crunch, and that's about it really. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have Hidden Power Ice, God bless you. But he's a great cleaner that's also going to take neutral attacks. The problem, once again, is that if he takes an Earthquake, he's dead. And even though 115 special attack is great, a lot of the times you're going to have to hit stuff for neutral, and then if you're not going to kill them, they hit you with Earthquake, you're dead. So that's kind of the problem. That's why he's not really fully top tier. Zapdos is better than him, in my opinion, but I can't really realistically put this guy in anything less than A. The other problem and why he's A on paper, but really you're not even going to use this guy, to be honest, is because you can't get the legendary beasts with good IVs in Fire and Leaf Green, no matter what you do. And I found out that their nature is also locked. Even if you find them as a roaming Pokemon with a nature you don't want, if you reset reset your game and then try again, if you find them in the wild, they're going to be locked in that first nature you found them with. So you're going to have to make a new game. And I don't know, I think this guy, they always have shit natures like relaxed and careful. Man, I've played through Fire Red a bunch of times, and this guy always gets a shit nature, and then I'm forced to keep him. So I think you can get him with good IVs in like the Coliseum game. I don't know if you get them in any other Gen 3 game, if you can get them in the Gale of Darkness game or someplace else. I guess if you have a way to get them as an event and it's going to be legit, but his IVs are going to be shit if you get him the conventional way. So that's why, other reason why I don't really recommend him. And he's just not as good as Zapdos. The combination, just Zapdos being immune to Earthquake and then being weak to Ice and Rock Slide, to be honest, is better than being weak to Earthquake. Plus, Zapdos is just going to have more resistances with the flying type. And yeah, you don't really got many great moves with Zapdos either, but the way I use Zapdos with Kingdra, you know, you got your Thunderbolt, your Thunder for the Rain Dance, as long as it stays up, your Drill Peck, and then a random Hidden Power. I've been lucky and have Hidden Power Ice on one of my Zapdoses. Other times I had dumbass Hidden Powers like Hidden Power Ghost. But I don't know, in my opinion, the Zapdos is more consistent. I guess with what you can do with this guy, if you're up against in a situation where you can't really do shit, then for your final moves, you can do something like Reflect or Light Screen. I think it learns both of them, or I think it only learns Reflect, but you can do something like that and then just accept that you're going to die and then get a useful wall up. Another good thing it does learn, though, over Zapdos is a Calm Mind. So, you know, you got the Calm Mind Thunderbolt combination. That's going to be very powerful. So, provided you're not going to cheat, or I guess even if you do cheat, I guess I don't care. If you're going to do this on emulator, if you're going to use Raichu, it can be pretty good. You know, your Thunderbolt, Calm Mind, maybe Crunch, or maybe Hidden Power. If you want to be the dude that does substitute Pitaya Berry, I wouldn't recommend it because this isn't Smogon, but you know, there's enough stuff you can do that is very dangerous. He has very high stats at the end of the day. Electric, special attacker. A is fair enough. Then we got Suicune, or actually we got Entei. I'll do Suicune first. I'll put Suicune in S tier. Besides Milotic, I think this is the best water Pokemon. Very, very, very high stats. Not a lot of waste. It has a little bit of wasted points in attack compared to Milotic, but it has a higher stat total than Milotic. So there's that. Weaker special attack. I think speed, it's higher than Milotic. Yeah, I think it has 85 speed. But again, the trick you can use with this guy that's going to make him very deadly is the Calm Mind buff. Calm Mind, Ice Beam, and Surf. And you have a monster of a Pokemon in Gen 3. For your fourth move, you can do, I don't know, maybe Toxic to hit something like a certain water Pokemon that are just going to wall you no matter what. I'm sure it learns a bunch of other random shit. I don't remember if it learns Reflect and Light Screen himself. He might. But just being mono water, the combination of Calm Mind, sort of Ice Beam, and then the extremely high stats is S tier. Just like Raichu, if you're not going to cheat and if you plan on getting him in Fire and Leaf Green, you're going to get him with shit IVs no matter what. So then at that point, you might as well not use him and just use Milotic. But if we ignore that, he's extremely, extremely dangerous. Very, very resilient. I wouldn't put many other water Pokemon in S tier. Mono water type Pokemon, let's just say. Okay. And then we got Entei. So this guy, I can't really put anything more than B. I'm being generous, but he has high stats, so let's put him in B. You can't really make great use of your high attack stat. Your fire stab, it's going to be special. Your special attack is decent, but it's not the greatest. It's got good defensive ass stats and enough speed. But he's kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none, and he doesn't really have the moves. So I'm just going to keep him in B. If you're lucky and you have a decent hidden power on it that's physical, congratulations. But yeah, it is. He just doesn't have the moves. It doesn't have. He needs the special physical split, and then even in Gen 4, until they gave him like Flare Blitz and a bunch of other moves, he wasn't really doing shit even there. Okay. And then the last Pokemon is Tyranitar, and I will put this guy in A reluctantly, but to put him in B, I think it's just way too low. So A minus, B plus. So Tyranitar is a pseudo-legendary, extremely high stats. Some points do get wasted in the special attack, but most of the time you are going to have at least one special move on him, if you ask me. It's a good idea to have like a fire type move on him, but you could also do something like Ice Beam too if you want, and Crunch, Earthquake of course, and Rock Slide, and you got a tank with leftovers on. You hit hard, and then certain Pokemon they won't be able to deal with you. Tyranitar's biggest problem is the ×2 weakness to fighting, but as I've noted before, very, very weak ass fighting type moves that are non-stab. You can take one of them if you've trained him properly. You put most of it in HP so that you have at least 401 HP. And then you get the max value from leftovers. And then you can put the rest in, I don't know, defense or special attack, depending on the other moves you have on. Sandstream is what really just buffs this guy up. If it wasn't for Sandstream, I maybe wouldn't put him in A. But Sandstream is very useful. It's going to negate your opponent's leftovers, deal with the reversal and dual Pokemon, and just be pretty good, especially in double battles. You can get gold symbols in double battles, but if you are going to do double battle in the Battle Frontier, which can be pretty fun, like the multi-battles, where you have an AI friend with you in the Battle Tower, I guess you don't know what Pokemon they're going to have, so you might hurt them too, but against double battles, you get like more value, and the Sandstream is going to hit 2 of your opponent's Pokemon every turn. So yeah, the Sandstream is really going to add up. But even in singles, Sandstream is very useful. Negating leftovers, just hitting for extra damage every turn. And he's basically a monster, you know, with the stats, all the different coverage move he has. He's very tough. Besides the fighting weakness, it sucks that he's weak to Earthquake and Surf and just has a bunch of weaknesses being Rock or Dark type. But there's a lot of benefits too. So, as a rock-type Pokemon is probably your best choice. Even better than maybe Armaldo, although Armaldo does have some edges over this guy. But just the highest stat combination, more moves, Sandstream, just makes him the best general rock-type Pokemon. Okay, so I think we gotta round up this video. It went a lot longer than I initially thought. But I hope I gave you guys a lot of tips, and I think this tier list, it looks good. I don't think I regret any decision. It's just fair enough. Your best Pokemon from Gen 2 really are, you know, Tyranitar, Raichu if you can get him with high IVs, Blissey, you know, Miltank, Umbreon, stall Pokemon. The B guys too, there's a bunch of B guys. I don't think we had as many B guys in Gen 3. But yeah, these are Pokemon that they're not the best choice, but they're decent enough. They just really don't make the top tier cut. But that's how they are. And then you got a bunch of bad Pokemon. I mean, I guess the D tier doesn't matter. I think at this point, maybe the next tier video, I'm not going to even do D. Yeah, you got this dude, like a shittier Tentacruel. Let's put him in here in D. Shuckle, yeah, this is... Don't bother using Shuckle. It's just a terrible idea. Best defenses and then everything else is shit. Walled by anything that you can't toxic. And then even the stuff you're going to toxic, I mean, you're going to have to stall, you're going to have to protect. You don't really get much benefit from leftovers because its HP is so shit. Gimmick 100%. And I really don't think I forgot anything. Everything else, I mean, it just kind of speaks for itself that it's a bad idea to use, I'd say. Okay. So that's the Gen 2 tier list video for Pokemon Emerald and Gen 3 in general. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. What up?